Saber de cor e salteado.
He is an excellent manager who knows the game inside out.
Inside out, de cor e salteado.
If you don't know it inside out and backwards, you are in trouble.
Inside out and backwards.
She knows the subject inside out. I've been studying this material for weeks now, so I know it inside and out. He knows that computer program inside out. He's the best person to tell you how to get there because he knows the city inside out. He knows this system inside out. It was the easy talk of two people who know each other inside out. But he has come a long way in a year and now knows the business inside out. Once there, they are said to have to learn by heart a great deal of poetry. Indeed, many stay on in training for 20 years. He read all the books, and I do mean all, and could recite large passages of film dialogue by heart.
De cor, by heart.
Poems and plays only come fully to life when they are spoken from the heart, by heart.
Fazer as unhas.
I'm doing my nails today. She sat at the desk doing her nails. Don't do your nails before you do the dishes. Did you do your nails? They look great. I save a lot of money by doing my nails myself. I need to have my nails done. Mary is having her nails done. Alex was having her nails done while Brittany was getting her hair done. Most women love having their nails done. I'll have my nails done on Saturday. What is truly luxurious about having your nails done is the time it allows you to spend by yourself or with your friends. She gets a manicure every week. Get a manicure, do some yoga, or enjoy an aromatherapy bath. You need to relax. She used to bite her fingernails, but now she's getting a manicure every week. Getting a manicure has become the female equivalent of playing golf at an exclusive country club. I get a mani-pedi at least a few times a year, often at the request of a friend who suggests we go together. Maybe we can go get a mani-pedi. What do you think? We got a mani-pedi. Take a look at my nails. While I was at the spa, I decided to treat myself and get a mani-pedi.
São e salvo.
He returned home safe and sound. 3 days later, the climbers were found safe and sound. Mom, I just wanted to let you know that I arrived in Paris safe and sound. All I'm hoping for is that, wherever my son is, he will come home safe and sound. I won't be able to relax during this storm until I know that the kids are safe and sound. It was a rough trip, but we got there safe and sound. Fortunately, the police found the missing children safe and sound. It was a challenging climb, so I'm relieved they got home safe and sound. This is one of those films that make you want to hug someone, if only to reassure yourself that you are safe and sound. We wish them all the best while away, and hope that they return back home safe and sound again in autumn. Deployed soldiers can rest assured knowing their families are safe and sound back home. Except for some hurt pride and a few bruised egos, they all landed safe and sound.
Bater ponto.
After 17 years of punching the clock, he just disappeared one morning and was never heard from again. Be sure to punch the clock each day, or there may be issues processing your pay at the end of the week. I've always dreamed of winning the lottery, so I don't have to punch a clock for the rest of my life. Bob is glad to have a job where he doesn't have to punch the clock. We'd like to remind all employees that they will not be paid for any work they've done before they punch in. Sarah's going to be a couple of minutes late, so she asked me to punch her in. I keep forgetting to punch myself in when I get into work. What time did she clock in?
Bater cartão.
She forgot to clock in today. I have to clock in by 8. Staff should clock in on arrival. I got in trouble with the boss because I clocked in 20 minutes late today. Go see Janet. She'll clock you in. What time did you clock in this morning? We are supposed to clock in before 9 a.m.
Estar quites.
If you give me $5, we'll be even. I helped Sarah set up the community center for her casino night in return for her helping me move, so she and I are even now. Buy me dinner this Friday. That way, you'll be even with me for the money I lent you. If you pay for my ticket, we'll be even.
Estaremos quites.
You broke the taillight on my car, so I slashed your tires. Now we're even. We will not be even until you repay my visit. Thank you for paying me back. Now we can call it quits.
Call it quits.
I paid for last week's shopping and you paid for this week's, so let's call it quits. I'll give you £20 and we'll call it quits. I know I upset you, but you said some nasty things to me too. Can't we just call it quits and try to forget it? Take $5 and we'll call it even. Since you paid for dinner last time, I'll pay this time, and we'll call it even.
Estaremos quites.
I'll pay the internet bill if you'll pay the electricity bill, and then we'll call it even. Since you bought the movie tickets and I bought dinner, let's just call it even.
Botar para quebrar.
Chris kills it on drums. Louise has sold a lot this week. She's killing it.
Ela está botando para quebrar.
What a delicious pie you've baked. You've killed it. That guy surfing the blue board this morning was killing it. Did the band kill it last night? Another A+. You're killing it. After our exams finished, we all decided to get dressed up and paint the town red. I was thinking I might go to a museum or the library. Wow, you're really gonna paint the town red, huh? I feel like celebrating my promotion. Let's go out and paint the town red. Whenever they go to New York, they want to paint the town red.
Paint the town red. Botar para quebrar.
Preparing yourself to paint the town red on a Saturday night just doesn't have the same buzz without suitable music to get ready to. I can't wait to go out with my best friend and paint the town red.
Não me venha com essa. Don't give me that.
Don't give me that nonsense that you are saving the environment. Don't give me your lies about freedom, peace, and democracy. Don't give me that tired old excuse. You have a kid, you pay for him. It's not my fault that we're late. Don't give me that. You were the one who said we didn't have to leave early.
Não me venha com essa. Don't give me that.
But I was going to let you have it tomorrow. Don't give me that. Oh, don't give me that. I know you asked Billy out, even though I'd told you how I felt about him. I didn't have time to do it. Oh, don't give me that. Don't give me that. I know exactly where you've been. But don't give me that. Don't give me any excuses of he's a young man and young men don't always make the best decisions. Don't give me that that's not my area stuff. Don't give me that honor and respect nonsense. When Endeavor purchased UFC, it was to make a bunch of money, and it did.
Dar conta do recado.
Our boss will give us the strength and guidance to get the job done. Although some may argue that this isn't the most elegant solution, it does get the job done.
Get the job done. Dar conta do recado.
Some plants, like ornamental grasses, may require knives or even hatchets to get the job done, but it is worth it. She wondered what it felt like to have that kind of passion and was in awe of their desire to get the job done. He rarely calls attention to himself, but usually does what it takes to get the job done. Once you have a clear focus, gather the right team around you to get the job done. Who said women couldn't get the job done? This is your moment. Are you up to the task?
Are you up to the task? Você dá conta do recado?
If the offer still stands, I'd like to coach the team. Well, I hope you're up to the task. These young men need discipline. Here are some red flags that may indicate that your trainer isn't up to the task. Everything checked out fine, and both engines indicated that they were up to the task. It is up to the teacher to discern which students are up to the task and which are not. I am not fully convinced that the designated finance minister is up to the task, and she has a lot to prove still. The young soldier proved equal to the task and saved his platoon from an enemy ambush. We need a manager who can lead project initiatives and efficiently direct employees. Do you think you're equal to the task? He's the best graphic designer we have, so I'm confident that he can deliver the goods for this ad campaign.
Deliver the goods. Dar conta do recado.
Give him a fair chance, and if he doesn't deliver the goods, I'll deal with him myself. Kate delivered the goods and got us the 5 votes we needed. If he fails to deliver the goods, they could be looking for a new prime minister by next summer. You can rely on him to deliver the goods. If he says he'll do something, he always does it. People doubt that the minister can really deliver the goods.
Saúde.
When someone tells me, "bless you," when I sneeze, I feel a little more cared for. Bless you. Do you need a tissue? I was just wondering why people say bless you when someone sneezes. Unless you were raised without any manners, you likely say bless you when someone sneezes. Bless you, that was a big sneeze. Cheers, she said, raising her glass. Cheers to the bride and groom. May you have a happy honeymoon. Joining in a group toast is easy, with glasses raised and shouts of cheers. So let's raise our glasses and say cheers. Cheers to you, my friend.
Dor de cotovelo.
Such complaints are nothing more than sour grapes.
Sour grapes.
I don't think it's such a great job. And that's not just sour grapes because I didn't get hired. Government officials may dismiss these allegations as just sour grapes from parties that expected to do well and are disappointed. Are his criticisms justified, or is this a case of sour grapes from a less successful artist? These accusations are just sour grapes from unhappy people. He always mocks sports cars as being impractical, but it's just sour grapes because he can't afford one. Criticizing my new iPhone is just sour grapes because I know you would like to have one. When she failed the entrance exam, she started saying that she never wanted to go to college anyway, but I think that's just sour grapes. It sounds like sour grapes to me. She said that they didn't want to join the club anyway, but it was clearly sour grapes. The loser's scorn for the award is pure sour grapes. Jake said he wasn't ready for a serious relationship anyway, but I know that is sour grapes and that he really liked Deborah. Whatever I say about my ex-wife will probably sound like sour grapes. Eat your heart out, pal. We won the title. Eat your heart out. I got tickets to the show and you didn't.
Eat your heart out. Morro de inveja.
Look at how well I dance now. Gene Kelly, eat your heart out. Eat your heart out. My new car is being delivered today. Yeah, the inheritance money is all mine. Eat your heart out.
Não estar à altura de.
Actually, this brand can't hold a candle to serious European dark chocolates, but it's fine in a pinch. At that time, Joe couldn't hold a candle to what they were doing. Kiffmeyer obviously can't hold a candle to Harris's achievements. I'd return the favor, but you know I couldn't hold a candle to you. It was felt that the shadow he cast was so great, there couldn't possibly be a composer who could hold a candle to his colossal talent. He dropped out of school at 16 because books couldn't hold a candle to golf and began studying visiting professionals. The surprise 25th birthday party my husband threw for me was unbelievable, but it couldn't hold a candle to this night. But for me, They still can't hold a candle to the old Liverpool team of the late 70s and early 80s. This film doesn't hold a candle to his previous ones. John's fast, all right, but he can't hold a candle to Louise. The sequel wasn't bad, but it doesn't hold a candle to the original. That doesn't hold a candle to what she has suffered.
Pagar o pato.
The teachers who were criticized said that they would not carry the can for the faults in the school system. As usual, I carried the can. My partner had been cooking the books for years, but because I was the CEO, I had to carry the can for our company's collapse. He made the error, but she was left to carry the can. Taxpayers will carry the can for the renovations. Joan felt she was always carrying the can for her boss's errors. It annoys me that I was the only one who carried the can for that defeat. The president has turned out to be the whipping boy for his party.
Being the whipping boy. Pagar o pato.
Bobby got tired of being the whipping boy for the mischief caused by his older brothers. The directors are clearly responsible for what happened, but they'll find a whipping boy lower down the company. It was your fault, and I am not going to be your whipping boy. This department's always been the whipping boy when things don't go well. He has become a convenient whipping boy for the failures of the old regime. We've made it look like he withdrew the money, so when the police start investigating, he'll be the one to take the rap.
Take the rap. Pagar o pato. Taking the rap.
I'm always taking the rap for your mistakes. I'm sick of covering for you. Janet doesn't have any penalty points on her license, so she agreed to take the rap for Jeff. I won't take the rap for the crime. I wasn't even in town. When the businessman was murdered by his partner, his wife took the rap. Steve is such a nice guy that he's always taking the rap for his colleagues. She was prepared to take the rap for the broken window, even though it was her brother who had kicked the ball.
A sono solto.
When she did awake, she discovered Jared fast asleep in his cot. The woman lay fast asleep under a blanket on her bed until the noise of the snoring outside stirred her. He was just sitting with his back to me while his brother was laying spread out on a couple of chairs fast asleep. He glanced over his shoulder to find Bill fast asleep at another computer. By the time I returned, she was huddled under the blankets, fast asleep. I looked around for a second and saw Jessica fast asleep on the couch. Sure enough, when we looked in our room, there were Chris and Brandon fast asleep. Without the constant attention of family and friends, she can spend days fast asleep. Looking down, she saw little Callum fast asleep in her arms, resting his head on her chest. She wondered what had made her feel so safe when she looked over and saw Darian fast asleep in a chair next to the bed. Glancing in Ralph's room, she saw the old man fast asleep beneath his covers.
É melhor esperar sentado.
If you're waiting for him to apologize, don't hold your breath. She said she might finish by this afternoon, but don't hold your breath. If you hope Monica comes to the meeting, don't hold your breath. She hasn't been to one all year. The front yard is such a mess. Bill's supposed to rake the leaves. Don't hold your breath. He never does his share of the work. Someone said that gasoline prices would go down. Oh yeah? Don't hold your breath. The system's due for an update, but don't hold your breath. If you're waiting for your team to win the championship, don't hold your breath. If you think I'm coming back, don't hold your breath. The government says it's going to introduce free meals for all school children. Is that right? Don't hold your breath. It might happen, but don't hold your breath. I know that he promised you a good job, but don't hold your breath. They may get married this summer, but don't hold your breath. I'll be in touch if I find out anything more, but don't hold your breath. If you are waiting for dramatic action against air pollution, don't hold your breath.
Osso duro de roer.
This math problem is a tough nut to crack. I've spent hours on it already, but still cannot solve it.
A tough nut to crack. Osso duro de roer.
I've been dating Jenny for over a year, and I still think she's a tough nut to crack. Figuring out the best way to modernize our product without alienating existing customers is definitely a tough nut to crack. The spy we captured is a tough nut. He hasn't said a thing since we began the interrogation. Our super strict principal is a tough nut to crack, so I hope Kate can convince her to let us host this event. Because our boss usually keeps to himself, I have no idea what his interests are. He's a tough nut to crack. The really tough nut to crack will be to persuade the older staff that change is necessary. The American market is a very hard nut to crack because it is so vast. The tough nut for this government is undoubtedly the economy. 3 wins and 3 draws prove United are a hard nut to crack. The team's defense is a tough nut to crack. The problem is a hard nut to crack. He's a tough nut, but I think I can get him to agree to the contract. Manchester United will be a tough nut to crack. Celtic have lost only once this season and will be a tough nut to crack.
Pôr o carro na frente dos bois.
Creating large numbers of schools before we've improved school management is putting the cart before the horse. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's actually find out what the problem is before we try to solve it. They want to go down the road with the cart before the horse and spend the money before they have made it. These kids are encouraged to compete before they actually have the skills to win. We've got ourselves a cart before the horse situation. It's putting the cart before the horse. All history shows that if you want to create a political union, you do that first, and the single currency follows. Don't plan the menu before deciding how many people to invite. It's like putting the cart before the horse. You're eating your dessert first. You've put the cart before the horse. John has the cart before the horse in most of his projects. Starting the fundraiser before we know how much we need is putting the cart before the horse. The government put the cart before the horse by investing heavily before making major reforms. People are putting the cart before the horse by making plans on how to spend the money before we are even certain that the money will be available.
No fundo do poço,
Confidence in the government is at rock bottom. Dan had just left me, and I was at rock bottom. Morale in the armed forces was at rock bottom. Her long-term love affair was breaking up, and she was at rock bottom. The president's approval ratings have hit rock bottom. Alcoholics often have to hit rock bottom before they can recognize that they have a problem. The team hit rock bottom, losing 12 games in a row. The market has hit rock bottom. I knew I had hit rock bottom when I missed my son's birthday party because I was so hungover. That's when I knew I needed to get help. The shares have reached rock bottom. Our marriage has reached rock bottom. After years of heavy drug use, she has finally reached rock bottom.
a todo vapor. Full steam ahead.
The government is going full steam ahead with its privatization program. Plans are rolling full steam ahead for the Jamaica Festival. The work started slowly, but now it's full steam ahead. The campaign is going full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead.
With all the legal hurdles behind us, it was full steam ahead as we began construction of the new resort. We'll have to go full steam ahead if we want to get this done by the deadline. We're ready to go full steam ahead once the health inspector signs off. It took a while for solar panels to catch on for ordinary consumers, but now it's full steam ahead. We started moving full steam ahead on the project. Full steam ahead. Let's see how fast this will go. We were working full steam ahead to finish the project by the end of April. Now that problem is out of the way, it's full steam ahead to get the job finished. The film is set to go full steam ahead. Just turn right and keep going full steam ahead. Even though interviews are going full speed ahead, we don't have that many candidates.
Dá na mesma. It's abroad at it's long.
We can either send a message to the lawyer now or wait until next week. It's as broad as it's long, since he will only be back to work next week. Do you prefer the white or the red car? It's as broad as it's long. I'll only have it for a day. Should we go today or tomorrow? It's as broad as it's long, isn't it? You choose. They lost 100 games last year. Actually, they only lost 96 games. Same difference. The point is that they were awful.
Dá na mesma. Same difference.
He was driving a red car. Actually, it was maroon. Same difference. I didn't tell him to leave. I just suggested it was getting late. Same difference. I'm going to the park to use the walking trail. Oh, the bike path, you mean? Potato, potato.
Potato,
Well,
potato.
technically, tomatoes are fruits and not vegetables. Potato, potato, who cares? Are you wearing a pink shirt, Jake? It's not pink, it's salmon. Potato, potato. Should we give her chocolates or flowers? I don't know, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Mesmo.
If I go left or right, I'll turn up at the same place in the end. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I can take the bus or the subway to get home. During rush hour, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Would you rather have pepperoni or sausage on your pizza? 6 and 2 threes for me.
6 and 2 threes for me.
We could take the highway or cut through the city. It takes the same amount of time to your mother's house, so it's 6 and 2 threes, really. Should I go left or right? 6 or 2 threes. Both ways get us there.
Mal sabia eu.
Little did I know that the course of my life was about to change. Little did I know that John was going to become such a great employee. When I was a kid, I used to play being a teacher with my dolls. Little did I know that I would be a high school teacher one day. Little did I know I would one day be in charge of the office. I bought my house last year. Little did I know that the real estate market would drop so much. I wish I had waited. Little did I know when I started my mystery novel how much research I would need to do in the field of forensics. Little did I know what was about to happen. We invested money in ABC Company. Little did I know they would go bankrupt. I wish we had invested in another company. Little did he know when he started his journey how difficult it was going to be. When he asked the beautiful woman for directions, little did he know that this simple question was going to connect him with the love of his life. Little did she know that she was about to embark on the most thrilling experience of her life. Little did she know, when she bought a computer, how much time she would end up spending online.
Mal eu sabia.
My brother has recently moved to a city on the coast. Little did he know there would be so many mosquitoes there in the summer. My sister is filing for divorce now. Little did she know when she married Jake that he would cheat on her all the time. Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction on a new armored space station. Little does she know that when she left that day, along with her, she took my heart. Little does he know that the old man is in fact his father. Little does she know what awaits her.
Me dá uma folga.
Give her a break. She's only a child and she didn't mean any harm. Don't criticize him so much. He's doing the best he can. Why don't you give him a break? Guys, I told you I needed you to be quiet for 5 minutes while I made a call, and you couldn't even do it for 10 seconds. Give me a break, will you? do you have to go on and on? Give me a break. Give me a break, you guys. That's enough of your bickering.
Bickering.
I don't know and I don't care. Give me a break. The accident wasn't my fault, so give me a break. Give me a break. I told you 1,000 times I'm busy now. Man, don't you see I've got work to do? Give me a break, will you? He's gone through a lot recently. Just give him a break for now.
De longe.
Aliens is hands down one of the most quotable movies of all time.
Hands down. De longe.
The envious look on my fellow competitors' faces reflected my own view. I was going to win this race, hands down. Pink lemonade is hands down my favorite new beverage. If this is so, then I would have to say that liberals have won this argument hands down. I think that takes the prize for the most bewildering and cryptic headline of the day, hands down. Leslie is hands down the nicest person I know.
Leslie é de longe a pessoa mais legal que eu conheço.
Leslie is hands down the nicest person I know. It's hands down the best movie of the year. This is the best pie I've ever had, hands down. We were really unprepared for our last game, and the other team won hands down. She won the contest hands down. They declared her the winner hands down. Hands down, it was the best thing I've ever done.
Desculpa esfarrapada. Lame excuse.
Nobody will believe this lame excuse. Every time Steve is late to work, he has some lame excuse about having to stay up late to study. When I asked Susan out on a date, she had some lame excuse about not being interested in dating at the moment. The amendments are a lame excuse to vote against the legislation. This appears to be a pure evasion of the question and a very lame excuse for the blunder that was committed. You should not give lame excuses to avoid going to work. She muttered some lame excuse to whoever she was talking with and walked towards the quiet part of the flat. Having your period is a totally lame excuse for skipping your gym class. Having your period is a totally lame excuse for skipping your gym class. Rather than giving some lame excuse for his non-participation, he's decided to lay it on the line. Better roads in cities that receive heavier rains show that blaming the rains is a lame excuse for poor quality of public works. This article is a lame excuse and an attempt to whitewash the failings of the Congress. What a lame excuse. Do you expect me to believe you?
Vivendo e aprendendo.
I had no idea they were related. Oh well, you live and learn. Well, I'll never try to ride my bike in the snow again. Live and learn. I didn't know that snakes could swim. Well, live and learn. John didn't know he should water his houseplants a little extra in the dry winter months. When they all died, he said, "Live and learn." I ignored the garden book, planted my beans in March, and they all rotted. Live and learn. A man who leaves his wife or his mistress is no catch, I was sorry to find out. Well, live and learn. I left my bike unlocked for 5 minutes and it was stolen. You live and learn, I suppose. It says in this book that the Romans were the first to have a state postal service. Well, you live and learn, don't you? I thought I could trust him, but I couldn't. Oh well, live and learn. At the time, it seemed like a good idea to castle Queenside. But after his sacrifice on C3, everything went downhill really fast. Live and learn, eh?
Andar na linha.
The new director will make us toe the line, I'm sure. At daycare, Brian has to toe the line, but at home, his mother's quite lenient.
Quite lenient. Bem tolerante. Toe the line. Andar na linha.
From now on, I plan to toe the line and do exactly what she tells me to avoid getting in any more trouble. The Prime Minister is angry because some members of the government are not toeing the line. I expect you to toe the line at all times if you want to remain at this firm, Jonathan. Journalists who refuse to toe the line will have to be sacked. She decided to toe the line rather than to disobey her parents. If you keep on the straight and narrow, you will win at the end. I always keep on the straight and narrow. All her efforts to keep him on the straight and narrow have been rewarded. The threat of a good beating should keep him on the straight and narrow. Partners often hope that the strength of their love can keep their lover on the straight and narrow. They will be supervised by mentors for 12 months after they leave jail to keep them on the straight and narrow. Be sure to mind your P's and Q's when you visit your aunt this weekend.
Andar na linha. Mind your P's and Q's.
Their grandmother often told the children to mind their P's and Q's. When we go to visit, do remember to mind your P's and Q's, children. We don't want another incident like last time. The mother reminded her son to mind his P's and Q's when he went over to his friend's house to play.
Ao avesso.
Hang them on the line inside out as well, because the sun will bleach the fabric.
Pendure-as no varal ao avesso também, porque o sol branqueará o tecido.
Hang them on the line inside out as well, because the sun will bleach the fabric. They say to meet a witch is easy. You put your clothes on inside out and walk backwards on Halloween night. Because of sensitive skin, he has been known at times to wear his shirts inside out to avoid irritation. I remember being on the tube in the morning and realizing that I'd put my t-shirt on inside out. I turned my pockets inside out, but no money fell out because I stuffed it all in my shoe. I told him that I didn't have any money by turning the pockets of my shorts inside out. Turning something inside out reminds me of a wonderful book I read when I was a kid.
Inside out. Ao avesso.
Helen turns her gloves inside out with a chopstick when she's finished for the day and throws them in the washing machine. She played with her gloves, turning each finger inside out. Turn the garment inside out and run cold water over it immediately.
Monte de bobagem.
Personally, I think the notion of love at first sight is a load of nonsense. Nobody cares about me. I am all alone in the world. That's a load of nonsense, Mary. The government's domestic policy is a load of nonsense. The government's domestic policy is a load of nonsense. If you ask me, these modern teaching methods are a load of nonsense. Don't fill her head with a load of nonsense, said her mother. What she told you was a load of nonsense. Mark doesn't drink at all. That's such a load of baloney. Everybody knows his scientific arguments are false.
Load of baloney. Monte de bobagem.
What a load of baloney. I know he doesn't have that kind of money. Most of what has been written on this subject is a load of baloney. Don't tell me you believe in all this load of baloney about ghosts. That's a load of baloney. I never said that at all. His explanation about the economic crisis was a load of baloney. He liked the TV series, but I thought it was a load of crap.
Load of crap.
That theory was proved to be a load of crap. I'm sure she was lying. Her excuse for not coming was a load of crap. Personally, I think that's a load of crap. What a load of crap! This explanation doesn't make any sense at all. His excuse is a load of crap. He never had any intention of following through on his promise. Don't bother to watch that film. It's a load of rubbish. Who said they were cheaper in that store? What a load of rubbish. You're talking a load of rubbish. He tried to give an excuse and said a load of rubbish. The mayor dismissed the accusations as a load of garbage. There is a load of garbage spoken about homeopathy that stems from this basic misconception. I don't intend to waste any more time listening to you talk a load of garbage. This channel's economic reports are a load of garbage.
Tirar sarro.
You can make fun of me all you want, but I love these shoes. Please stop making fun of the movie. You don't have to sit here and watch it, you know. People enjoy making fun of the clothes I wear, though they seem all right to me. Don't make fun of my accent.
Não tire sarro do meu sotaque.
Don't make fun of my accent. She poked fun at people's mistakes. All the kids poked fun at Dan's new haircut. I was just poking fun at him. I didn't think he would take it so personally. Comedy shows often poke fun at politicians. We both get teased about our hair. My classmates teased me a lot for being skinny.
Teased me. Tiravam sarro.
He teased her about always wearing bright red lipstick. He teased me mercilessly about my dream of becoming a movie star. They're always taking the piss out of him because he's a Barry Manilow fan.
Tirando sarro. Take a piece out.
If you can't take the piss out of yourself every once in a while, you're not going to enjoy most of life. It really hurt her feelings to know that the group had been taking the piss out of her the whole time. Brian was a bit of a troublesome student and tended to take the piss out of his classmates. The film openly mocks the sacrifices and hardships our soldiers had to endure during that unfortunate war. I saw you laughing, and I thought you were mocking me.
Mar de rosas.
Who said life would be a bed of roses? If I had $1 million, I would be in a bed of roses. How can you make your life be a bed of roses without working hard? We all knew that life was unlikely to be a bed of roses during the war. I was angry with the world and with myself, and not without reason. My life had not been a bed of roses. She found out that taking care of old parents was not a bed of roses. After John complained about his tiring day at work, his father said to him, "You didn't think your new job in construction was going to be a bed of roses, did you?" Little did I know that before separating from my family, my life was a bed of roses. Making money is not a bed of roses, so wake up early and go to work. My friend hit the jackpot, so his life must be a bed of roses. I got a promotion and got engaged in the span of a week. My life is just a bowl of cherries these days. The real estate salesman tried to convince us that life in the suburbs is just a bowl of cherries.
Mar de rosas. Bowl of cherries.
My husband is about to get laid off. Life is just a bowl of cherries, right? My alarm didn't go off this morning, and then my car wouldn't start. I missed the bus and got to work late. Life is just a bowl of cherries.
Na melhor das hipóteses,
We won't be finished for another 3 months at best. At best, you will earn back what you paid in. He's an average writer at best. He made a strategic error and was at best guilty of political naivety, at worst of incompetence. Britain's role in this affair has been at best ambiguous and at worst shameful.
na melhor das hipóteses, at best.
All serious analysts of crime deride this as at best ignorant and at worst dishonest. This article says allergies are increasingly common and can be at best inconvenient, but at worst fatal. This is arrogance at best, but worst of all, you're hurting a poor old man's feelings. So far, those attempts have been at worst disastrous and at best meaningless. The first views her at best as a mad, talentless manipulator and at worst as a murderer. It was extraordinarily modest and at best misleading as to the First Lady's worldview. The problem with this is that the effect of the war in this respect would be marginal at best.
Na melhor das hipóteses.
Yet the support of the people of York is at best equivocal and at worst non-existent.
Chutar o balde.
When you throw everything up in the air, anything becomes possible. He decided to throw everything up in the air and travel the world. I'm so tired. I wish I could just throw everything up in the air. When she found out what her friend had done, she lost her temper. I'm usually a calm person, but whenever I start driving, I lose my temper at the slightest inconvenience. I lost my temper, banged my book down on the desk, and started shouting at Bob. He arrived without that important check, and then I just lost my temper. Dad will hit the roof when he finds out I dented the car.
Chutar o balde. Hit the roof.
The driver hit the roof when the policeman gave him a speeding ticket. My parents are going to hit the roof if they discover we had a party here. When he saw the amount of the bill, he hit the ceiling.
He hit the ceiling. Chutou o balde.
The boss hit the ceiling when he saw that we'd already blown through the budget. I am going to hit the ceiling. My boss fired me for doing something wrong, but it wasn't my fault. He's extremely irritable and flies off the handle at the slightest thing.
Flies off the handle. Chuta o balde.
It's a shame the candidate flew off the handle during the debate, since it undermines the solid arguments he's been making up to that point. I know you're upset, but there's no point flying off the handle like that. It was an honest mistake. They will go ballistic when I tell them about the accident.
They will go ballistic. Ballistic. Eles irão chutar o balde.
They will go ballistic when I tell them about the accident. My parents went ballistic when they found out I'd sneaked out again. The boss went ballistic when he saw my expense report. The singer went ballistic after a member of his band failed to show up for a sound check.
Não vem ao caso.
He's very charming, but that's beside the point. This semantic distinction is beside the point. The special admissions program is undeniably a classification based on race and ethnic background. Whether or not he's married is beside the point. She had come to no harm, but that was beside the point. They had certainly lied to her, but that was beside the point.
Beside the point, não vem ao caso.
Whether you had insurance is beside the point. The accident is your fault. To be honest, I didn't like it, but that was beside the point. Whether or not he likes you is beside the point. I don't support the occupation myself, but that's beside the point. Whether we believe in capital punishment is beside the point. It's obvious that the people running these prisons think it's a fine idea. Eliot's arguments are wholly beside the point. The case naturally provoked a lot of commentary, much of it beside the point. Frankly, this sort of literary speculation is largely beside the point.
O mais breve possível.
I need the report as soon as possible. You should finish your work as soon as possible. I will call you back as soon as possible. It's imperative that I speak with you as soon as possible. I will let you know her answer as soon as possible. I will return your call as soon as possible. Call your mother as soon as possible. She's very worried about you. We will get your order to you as soon as possible. Please reply this email ASAP. Despite my busy schedule, my boss needed the paperwork ASAP because this project was a priority for the company. Frankie needed his car returned to him ASAP so that he could get to work on time. If you don't need a phone ASAP, consider waiting around for a sale. If you truly need money ASAP, call the creditor and explain your financial trouble.
Exato. Mão de vaca.
My dad's such a cheapskate that he cuts his hair himself. Dozens of readers called him a cheapskate for not buying yogurt himself. That cheapskate won't even pay for a postage stamp. Many cheapskates might find the idea of paying an annual fee for a credit card too much to stomach when so many cards charge none. Tell your husband not to be a cheapskate. Exercising your prerogative to spend your money as you choose is not the same thing as being a cheapskate. There's no point in asking Joe to pay for it. He's a real tightwad.
Tightwad. Tightwad. Mão de vaca.
Her husband's such a tightwad that he never wants to go out to dinner. The details of the tax returns painted Reagan as a tightwad. I am a lifelong penny pincher, and yet there are many things I wouldn't do to save money.
Penny pincher. Mão de vaca.
Knowing my penny pincher nature, they weren't sure I would buy much of anything for the party. He takes offense at the notion he's a penny pincher, insisting all his workers are paid above minimum wage. If you weren't such a penny pincher, you'd have some decent clothes. Her daughter was a stingy child, and she hated sharing her toys.
Stingy. Mão de vaca.
An official from the United Nations accused large industrial nations of being stingy with international aid. The company was too stingy to raise salaries. Although he supports his mother financially, his sister presents him as stingy and ungrateful, devoted only to his own success. He's so cheap, he didn't even buy me a card for my birthday. The boss is cheap. He'll never buy a new truck if he can squeeze a few more miles out of the old one. He's so cheap, we didn't get a pay raise this year. Please, Dad, just this once, don't be cheap.
Sabichão.
His reputation as an autocratic know-it-all goes before him.
Know it all.
He was kind of a know-it-all who liked to talk with a lot of authority on different subjects. Do not force your opinions on others, and definitely do not come across as a know-it-all. The new girls didn't appear to be inclined toward a know-it-all attitude, for which Jane was grateful. Dad was never a know-it-all. He just wanted to help me improve. She is just what you need, said Sue, with that know-it-all smile of hers. He was talking like a smart aleck and acting like he had everything under control.
Smart Alec, sabichão.
You'll end up being nothing more than a smart aleck if you keep acting this way.
Smart Alec.
Being the smart aleck I was in those days, I told my friend to watch me and simply jumped. The lead character of the TV series is a smart aleck whose disdain for the regular world is often too apparent. And who wants a smart aleck telling you what to do? He has a reputation for being a wise guy.
Wise guy, sabichão.
The teacher was delighted that the worst wise guy in the class was moving out of town. Quit being a wise guy. Okay, wise guy, if you're so smart, you can show everyone how it's done. Bill is a wise guy and displeases others by what he says. Don't be such a smarty pants. You don't know everything.
Smarty pants, sabichão.
Okay, smarty pants, are you going to help me or just stand there mocking me all night? If you give people the impression you're a smarty pants, you will just push them away. He is a smart boy, but not a smarty pants, which isn't the safest combination in a tough town. He's a smartass with a community college degree.
Smart ass, sabichão.
I'm not trying to be a smartass, but this is commonly known stuff. Unfortunately, I reacted in an inappropriate manner, calling him a smartass in front of his entire family. Don't worry, I can manage his smartass remark. To which my smarty-ass friend replied, "Tell me something I didn't already know, Einstein." Even the smarty-pants Google geniuses probably don't think that far ahead. I think Climax is a great example of those smarty-pants classicists back in the Renaissance dragging Latin and Greek words into English.
O tempo todo.
We can't be together all the time. It's a very good restaurant. We go there all the time. I get the two of them mixed up all the time. They're so similar. It rained all the time they were there. I think about her all the time. She just kept on talking, and the whole time I was thinking that I wanted to leave. Her son kept complaining the whole time. You can't be right the whole time. My sisters and I used to fight the whole time. He thinks about her 24/7. A team of pharmacists is available 24/7 every day of the year to talk to you on the phone. We offer 24/7 internet access. Daily live classes taught by industry leaders are at your disposal 24/7. I'm in constant pain 24/7, said Lake, who is too disabled to work. I felt like everything was moving, like I was on a boat 24/7, the patient said. In 2017, a Tennessee home went down in flames after Christmas lights were left on 24/7. I've been fooling myself all along. I knew all along that it wasn't his real name. Sometimes the best answer is the one that was there all along. I think she had been planning to leave him all along. I knew the answer all along. He had seemed to be kind, but all along he was evil and dangerous. As I had suspected all along, he was not a real policeman. He has said all along that he wanted, still wants, to be an actor. The police watched the house around the clock, but no one went in or came out. Around the clock, for 10 days, we pray over those names.
Around the clock.
The priceless jewels were guarded around the clock. Her grandfather was so sick that he had to have nurses around the clock. The mountain was guarded around the clock by armed soldiers mounted on nervous horses. Rescuers worked around the clock to free people trapped in the wreckage. We have been working around the clock to solve this issue with your security system, but it's going to take us another 24 hours to fix it. The doctors have been working on him around the clock, but his condition is still critical. The training was non-stop and continued for 3 days.
Non-stop.
Amy and her group had driven non-stop through Spain. The snow fell non-stop for 24 hours. The couple had been bickering non-stop about their financial problems. The guys are working non-stop to build the house. Recently, he has been working non-stop on the takeover deal that gives him control of the business again.
No fim das contas.
It's a generous offer, but at the end of the day, I have to choose the job that will be most beneficial for my family.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's up to the Germans to decide. At the end of the day, the board's not going to be concerned with $3 or $4 more. The clubs want to look after you because at the end of the day, there's a lot of money invested in players, and you are precious to them. Of course, I'll listen to what she has to say, but at the end of the day, it's my decision. At the end of the day, I'm the one who is going to be held responsible. That's just how I feel about your girlfriend. At the end of the day, your relationship is your business. At the end of the day, there's nothing we can do. At the end of the day, you will have to decide where you want to live. The committee interviewed many applicants for the post, but at the end of the day made no appointment.
Estar nas nuvens.
Ever since Mary got her promotion at work, she's been on cloud 9. I don't think I've ever seen her happier.
She's been on cloud 9.
He's been on cloud 9 ever since she agreed to marry him. I never expected to win, so I'm on cloud 9. Was Helen pleased about getting that job? Pleased? She was on cloud 9. Ever since he proposed to her, her parents have been on cloud 9. When Michael was born, I was on cloud 9. I couldn't believe this beautiful little boy was ours. She's been on cloud 9 ever since she heard the news. The team still is on cloud 9, weeks after winning the championship. He admitted today he will have to come off cloud 9 pretty soon and go to work again. After living a fairy tale with him for so long, it is very hard to come off cloud 9 and accept that it's over.
Come off cloud 9. Voltar à realidade. Come off.
After living a fairy tale with him for so long, it is very hard to come off cloud 9 and accept that it's over. Any worthwhile career takes years of patience and hard work. But why not stop daydreaming, come down from cloud 9 and get started? After the divorce, she had to come down from cloud 9 and start her life over. Since they got married, they've been in seventh heaven. I've been in seventh heaven ever since I got engaged. When she has all her grandchildren around her, she's in seventh heaven. She was in seventh heaven when she received the acceptance letter to medical school. After I was given my first camera, I was in seventh heaven. We were in seventh heaven in our new home.
Começar do zero.
I built every bit of my own house. I started from scratch and did everything with my own hands. We don't have time to start from scratch, so let's just use some cake mix from a box.
To start from scratch.
The class has started the lesson from scratch to be able to understand the basics in a better manner. I have worked hard and started this empire from scratch, so now I am considered an expert in the industry. He is not able to start from scratch now that he has work experience of 8 years. She has surprised everyone by restarting her life from scratch. The power's out. All you can do is say, okay, we have to start from scratch, bringing the power back up. In that case, you may have to restart your download from scratch.
To restart your download from scratch. Recomeçar do zero.
California does not have to start from scratch in building a new education data system. Conventional wisdom suggests Marvel Studios will start from scratch, folding the mutants into its cinematic universe. He built his own computer company from scratch. Erase everything on the computer's hard drive and start over from scratch. It takes 3 years for a farmer to develop a bamboo plantation from scratch. She built up her company from scratch and now employs more than 20 people. This would give it a cheaper entry to the market, although it would have to start from scratch in building a customer base.
Colocar as mãos na massa.
He's not afraid of getting his hands dirty. My boss is great because she'll get her hands dirty and help us with mailings and phone calls whenever we get really busy. There is nothing more rewarding to me than getting my hands dirty in my garden. I really appreciate you guys getting your hands dirty and helping us move. The guys at the top make all the money, while the people actually getting their hands dirty make very little. It's not that the jobs aren't there, it's just that she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. My son was never one to get his hands dirty. Even when he was a boy, he used his allowance to pay his sister to mow the lawn and clean his room. Nonprofit organizations are always looking for volunteers who are not afraid of getting their hands dirty, helping to build houses for low-income people. Uncle Pete has been avoiding us ever since we discovered that he gets his hands dirty working for the mob.
Trabalhar para a máfia. A mob. Getting his hands dirty.
No one can know about my police record. I don't want people to think that I still get my hands dirty. He never talked to the media or got his hands dirty in any way. To get elected, some politicians get their hands dirty by taking donations from unscrupulous sources. When doing business around the world, you have to be willing to get your hands dirty, and sometimes that means paying bribes.
Falar umas verdades.
That is the 4th time this week my neighbor's barking dog has woken me up. I'm going to go give her a piece of my mind about it.
To give her a piece of my mind.
I'm going to give that mechanic a piece of my mind if the car's not fixed this time. I'd like to give her a piece of my mind. He stopped making so much noise after I went over there and gave him a piece of my mind. The boss really gave me a piece of his mind after that awful meeting. I had to give him a piece of my mind after he left my car a mess for the 3rd time this week. She was furious and gave him a piece of her mind. I'm going to give that woman a piece of my mind when I see her. If I'd been the parent, I'd have given the teacher a piece of my mind. I've had enough from this boy. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. If he doesn't turn that music down soon, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. You can't let people get away with behavior like that. You should have given her a piece of your mind.
É coisa de família.
Intelligence seems to run in that family. We're all ambitious. It seems to run in the family. Asthma seems to run in our family. Good looks must run in the family. And yet great passions, or the tendency to them, seem to run in the family. Cassie's drawing will probably win the contest. Artistic ability just runs in her family. My grandparents lived well into their 90s, and it runs in the family. Weak eyes run in the family. My brothers and I have red hair. It runs in the family. Brown eyes run in our family, but I have green eyes. My father is short. His father is short. All my brothers and sisters are short. It runs in the family. We're all crazy in my family. It runs in the blood.
It runs on the blood.
Hard workers run in our family. We all start working as soon as we are old enough. He said his father did time and that, these things tend to run in the family.